Hi, I'm Corbin, the broker here at Full Circle Real Estate Group.
Hi, I'm Makyla DeRue. I'm a limited license master social worker.
And welcome to the Hustle and Heart podcast. So first, I wanted to ask you how you got into this field and more about what you're doing in the field.
Okay, so I got into this field because my mom was a substance abuser for 12 years. I took care of her for most of those years, if not all of them. And after she passed away, I ended up wanting to help other people that were like her. So right now, I'm currently working with adults with severe mental illnesses, so bipolar disorder, borderline personality, schizoaffective disorder, schizophrenia. So all the really severely mentally ill individuals of the community.
Wow, that sounds tough. But thank God, you are willing to do that because it's very needed.
Yeah, when I was in school, most of the people I went to school with, they're like, oh my God, you do that job? So I'm community based. I go to their homes. So a lot of people are like, you're crazy. Why are you going there?
Yeah, that sounds a little dangerous.
It can be, but it's all about knowing your surroundings, always knowing where your exits are, knowing if the individual is stable or not is really important. Which I've definitely encountered my fair share of unstable individuals, and you just assess the situation in that moment. You leave or you call for EMS. It just depends on how severely unstable they are.
And you're there by yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. What kind of things are you working with them on?
So I'm their therapist. I
Okay.
used to be the case manager, and then I recently got promoted to the therapist when our therapist left our team.
Okay, so you're doing talk therapy
Yep.
with them? Okay.
Yep, and I plan on doing some trainings to do cognitive processing therapy, which is for trauma. So that is an upcoming training that I plan on doing here soon.
I need that. I think I need that.
Me too.
Can you do it on yourself?
I don't think so. I don't think I'd be as honest with myself as I'd be with a therapist.
That is true.
Most people aren't as honest with themselves as they would be with somebody that's in a safe and comfortable environment.
That's true. Have you learned any tools that have helped you through your training?
Any things that help me personally of not bringing things home kind of thing.
Yes, that's a good one.
So, yeah, I do a lot of self-care things. I typically I go to the gym 4 days a week. Those 4 days I go at 6 in the morning, roughly.
Wow.
And then I go to work after because I don't like to go to the gym after work.
Yeah.
Those gym bros, they are too much, and they hog machines that I need. So I like to go in the morning when the older people are there.
I don't blame you.
Another thing that I like to do is, I'm also a hula hoop dancer in my free time.
That's so cool.
Been doing that for 9 years now, 10 years almost. But that's a really good decompression. I go home and I'm okay, give me a song. Let me go play with my hula hoop.
You should have brought one so we could see a demonstration.
Oh, you know what? I took it out of my car yesterday, too. Next time. But more relaxing kind of self-care, I like to do those float deprivation tanks.
Ooh.
So there's a place called the Float Institute over in Sterling Heights.
Okay.
It's really cool. It's a big bathtub with salt water, and you just float in there for an hour. It's very relaxing.
Wow. I don't think I've ever had in the longest time an hour of just silence without my phone, without watching something, without listening to something.
Me neither. Other than
Sounds
then.
nice, though.
Other than then. And I do that maybe once every couple months. I also like to do Reiki massages once a year.
Oh, okay. I like massages, but I've never done the Reiki.
Reiki is interesting. Especially if you're trying to really get in tuned with your chakras and trying to figure out what part of you is blocked and what parts you need to work on, because that's what Reiki typically works through.
Okay.
So they use the 7 chakras, and they put the crystals down your body at the end of your massage to check and see what is blocked and where can we fix and what do we need help with.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what you do is very different than real estate agents, obviously. Like, you're dealing with a lot of intense things, but I feel like there's a lot of similarities in some ways because sometimes we are kind of therapists. Like, they really bring their lives and we have to try to help them with their lives and their emotions because it's a huge like financial thing, and sometimes more than that. Divorce, marriage, like having kids, losing someone, like all
Yeah.
that stuff. And then a lot of our agents always tell me like I bring that home, or I have trouble like separating work from home too.
Yeah, especially in your guys' field. I mean, you guys kind of are always working. Granted, I'm always working too because I also have a crisis phone every 8 weeks for 2 weeks at a time where I'm on call for 24 hours.
Wow.
But with real estate, I mean, you could get a call from somebody at like 8 o'clock at night and be like, I found a house and I want to look at it tomorrow. Do you got time? Like, no, girl, I'm sleeping right now. Like, let me decompress.
It really is like, it's really hard because we don't have like a start time and an end time in real estate.
Right.
It's kind of just like all the time.
Yeah. I feel like it's like that for a lot of jobs, and they don't pay us enough for for working all these hours.
No.
These salary jobs aren't fair.
I know. With real estate, like you don't get paid until a deal closes. So you could do like a lot of work for like weeks.
And then the
you
deal
don't get
might
paid.
not even
Yeah.
close.
Yep.
That's...
I know. That's why a lot of people don't go into real estate, and I completely understand why.
Yeah.
Or make it in real estate. I think it's like only 20% of people make it past the first 2 years.
Yeah, I thought about trying it once, but then I was like, oh, my master's, I can do that in 1 year? Let me do that.
That's crazy that you were able to do that in 1 year.
I did an accelerated master's program while
Wow.
working 2 jobs.
How?
I didn't sleep.
Oh my gosh.
I was doing homework until like 4 in the morning, going to sleep for a couple hours, going to my first job, then going to my second job, or going to class. It was all about the hustle at the time.
Yeah.
Now I value my sleep. Everybody should value their sleep. I didn't realize I needed to value it a little bit more, but I do now.
But you're here now. You did it so quick.
I know. I finished 5 years of school in like 6 years. It took like a little bit longer with my associates, but that's not bad.
That's understandable when you have other jobs and everything.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad like schedule for me. It worked out in the end.
Yeah. What do you think people misunderstand about the mental health field?
There's such a huge stigma around mental health, and I think it's because so many people don't believe it's real. Like the people that have never experienced any form of mental health disabilities, they just don't think it's real, to the point of like when they do see someone with mental health, they're like, oh, brush it off. You're fine. Back in my day, I'm talking about the older generation, and it's mostly them.
Yeah.
However, I do believe that during COVID, more people are a lot more susceptible and understanding of mental health, because now most of them understand it because they went through it being locked in their houses for so many months.
That's true.
So many, like, there's such a big need for mental health workers. So social workers, counselors, therapists, you name it. We need more because now so many people are recognizing like, oh shoot, I'm feeling really depressed. I've never felt this way. I need a therapist now. And we don't have enough of us to help the people that used to not believe in what we did. So there used to be people that would be like, oh, therapy's a joke.
Mm-hmm. Or it's like for crazy people.
Or it's for crazy people. You don't have to be crazy to need therapy. I've been in therapy since I was 10 years old. But then again, I have a lot of trauma. So give or take.
Well, that's good that you've been in therapy for that long.
Yeah.
That really is good.
I love my therapist. Well, I've had some bad ones. And I always tell people, therapy is like dating. You're not going to meet the right one the first time.
That's true.
Or even the second time.
Yeah.
Or even the third. Just keep dating them.
Yeah.
Give them 3 appointments. And if you're still not meshing, you're not going to.
Mm-hmm.
If by the 3rd appointment you're like, there's no rapport built. I'm not feeling a connection to this person. I don't think I can trust them. You're not going to just find a new one. Mm-hmm. There's enough for you to at least shop around.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because people specialize in different things and they have different backgrounds and everything. So they're not all going to have the same help for you.
Right. Like, there was a therapist that I had that one of my sisters had at the same time. She really liked her. I did not. Mm-hmm. We did not mesh well.
Or just personality, too. Maybe doesn't mesh.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need to find the right person that'll mesh well with you. And that's also why I think a lot of people don't believe in therapy, because they do it and they're like, all I'm doing is talking to this person. Mm-hmm. What are they going to do if I'm just talking to them? They can do a lot if you're working on the things you need to actually be working on.
That's true. Yep. I think even I would probably, if I haven't dealt with mental health issues, I would probably be like, you're anxious, just like stop worrying, like just relax.
Right.
Or if you're depressed, like just get out and do things. Like you have to force yourself to, but like dealing with it, you realize like there's really, like, you feel helpless, and it's like sometimes there for no reason too. Mm-hmm. Like I can just be anxious for no reason. I'm not actually anxious about anything, but I just have anxiety.
And that's okay. That's okay. Anxiety is really common. That one is like, somebody will be like, oh, my heart is racing and I'm sweating, but I don't know what's wrong. Well, you're just having a little bit of anxiety. Mm-hmm. Let's do some deep breathing exercises. Let's do a grounding technique together. Like, I have friends that have never gone to therapy, but they'll call me. They will call me. And I love all my friends. And sometimes I'll be like, hey, I don't have the capacity, but what do you need? Let me see if I can at least give you something to hold you over until I do have the capacity. And most of my friends are very respectful of when I'm like, hey, not yet. Give me an hour. I just got home.
Yeah. That's good that you have those boundaries, though.
Yeah.
Did you always, or did you kind of learn the hard way?
I learned the hard way. And also I had a professor that I'll never forget this story, and he is still to this day my favorite therapist, clinician, professor, everything in his field. He's awesome. He said to me, him and his wife are both therapists. Every time they go on vacation, they don't tell people their real professions anymore, because when they would go and they told people the truth, they'd be like, oh my God, my husband and I this, my children are doing this. We're on vacation. We don't want to deal with that. So they started lying to people and telling them a whole different story about their lives and different names even. Like they were like whole different people. And I was like, that's a good idea. I'm going to use that one day.
That is a good idea. What are you going to say that you are instead? Professional hula hooper.
That would work. But then they'd be like, do you have your hula hoop with you? No, I didn't bring it in my bag. You think I'm going to bring that on a plane? That thing's expensive.
Yeah, they're not just the regular hula hoops. Those things are like the professional kind.
Yeah, my most expensive hula hoop is $600.
Oh my gosh. You have pictures and videos though, so you could be like, see, not lying.
Yeah.
I just don't have it with me right now.
That's true. I do have pictures and videos. I don't know. What would my fake job be?
I could see you being a teacher.
No.
You gotta give a teacher vibe.
Really?
A little bit.
I feel like I would give like a flight attendant or like
I could see that.
An esthetician.
I could see that.
I totally, if I need to, I have a spa voice where I'm like, hi, how are you today?
ASMR. Get close to the microphone.
So I would make it up as I went, I think.
It could be different every time too. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, I don't have to be the same person. I could have a different name, different job. I'm not even from Michigan.
Yeah, exactly.
From a whole different state.
Do you think you'll always do what you're doing in your field, or do you think because there's so many different things you can do in your field?
Oh yeah, social workers. The reason I did the degree in social work is because it's so broad. I could be a probation officer if I wanted to. I don't want to.
But you could.
But I could if I wanted to. So I actually do have plans for me to, in the future, do psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy.
She's so intrigued. Tell us everything about this, please, even if it's just for Liz.
So I've been doing research on psychedelic-assisted psychotherapy since I was a bachelor social worker, like in school, haven't even graduated. They started doing clinical trials in England, and I think they were supposed to have results by the end of 2026. And this was like a few years ago that they started this trial, and now U of M is doing a trial as well. And this one's for psilocybin. Now,
Is that like the mushrooms?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. Psilocybin is mushrooms, and they recently started actually opening up mushroom dispensaries, but
Oh, wow.
because it's now decriminalized, because there's now testing for mental health diagnosis.
Wow.
So they're using it for like PTSD, depression, and anxiety. They use ketamine treatments for PTSD, anxiety, and depression as well. There's not much study on MDMA clinical trials, but they do have ketamine and psilocybin trials. And I'm more so interested in the psilocybin aspect of things. I just seen the way that like psilocybin can actually alter the brain just slightly to where it chemically balances you without needing any oral medications all the time.
And it's natural.
And it's natural. It grows from, well, cow poop. Sorry.
Oh, it does?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, that is how they grow it, technically. There are other ways now, but that's how it originated, was
Okay.
it was in cow manure. Now they have ways of growing it in soil, and they've liquefied it, and, you know, scientists make things into chemicals and do all the things that they have to do to extract from the mushroom.
Yeah.
There's actually a show on Disney Plus, Hulu. What's it called? It's about mushrooms. It's like a cartoon version, but it's for adults.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to look it up at some point and tell
Yeah.
you what it's called. But it was really good watch. I enjoyed it. Like, even though it was cartoon and animated, I was like, oh, this is pretty intriguing. Like, it's about a guy who's got these mushrooms, and he's actually being hunted because he's got these magic mushrooms that are supposed...
It's a real story?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's an animation, but it does have some real like facts in
Okay.
it about psilocybin and like how it's grown and what it's made from and things like that. So
Okay.
yeah,
I think a lot of people, when they think like the mushrooms, they think of like you're going to be like tripping and all this other stuff, which I'm sure you can depending on how much you take, but other people also just take like the microdoses.
yeah, microdoses is what's going to help for mental health. Doing a full dose and tripping is not going to help your mental health.
That's what I was thinking when you said psychedelic. I was thinking like you'd be like there helping them throughout this trip. That's what I was picturing.
So I mean, there are some clinical trials that like they're having them stop taking all of their meds if they're taking anything for for depression, anxiety, and PTSD. But they had a couple where they did like actual trips, and they were trip sitters and like walking them through it and guiding them. And I don't know like how those trials are really going. They haven't released a whole lot of research quite yet, but it's decriminalized in Colorado and I believe here now.
Okay.
Colorado was first. But my ultimate goal is to work with psilocybin. I want to get my PhD. So I take my testing for my full license sometime in the next 3 months. I'm kind of like slowly studying. I could take it as early as June 11th, but I'm like, I haven't studied enough. That's a lot of money for me to take this test for me to fail it. So I'd rather study a little bit longer to only have to take it one time.
Yes.
But once I'm fully licensed, I think I have to be fully licensed for a year before I can do a PhD. And I want to do a PhD, and my goal is U of M or Johns Hopkins so that I can work in the psilocybin labs.
You'd be a doctor. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. That'd be super cool.
Granted, I don't need to be a doctor to work with psilocybin as a as a therapist or as a social worker, but I would want to, so I could be the one that's like deciding the dosage and like, how can we move up? Can we move down? Are we at a good spot? How are you feeling, kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd be super cool. And it's something that's not very common either. So you'd be kind of like one of the first percentage of people that are starting in that field, I'm sure.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only a small percentage of the U.S. that even has people who've graduated with their masters, let alone their PhDs. And then to work on that, I'd be like another small little percentage.
Yeah.
As small as me.
Perfect. So do you think being in this field has desensitized you to a lot?
Oh, yeah. Especially with the individuals that I work with. You know, witnessing somebody in psychosis and going through certain experiences. So I've been in the field for 4 years, including my internship, and I've been in the same job the entire time. And about a year and a half ago, I had a client that I was assessing him for inpatient psych. He was in an ER, and he assaulted me. And, you know, ever since then, I kind of went through a lot of burnout, and then I got really desensitized to some of the things that people tell me. And, like, I was like, oh, like, that is possible. It is very real, and you can get hurt in this field, and you can take some of it home on accident because you experienced something in the field. And now it's been like a year and a half, and sometimes people will say things to me, and I'm like, oh, well, how can we help with that? Like, I still care about them, of course.
Yeah.
I still work with them. I still, you know, help individuals with what they're going through, but I am more desensitized. Like, I don't come home and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so drained. I come home and I'm like, what's for dinner? What am I going to do this weekend? Like, now I'm like, I'm going to leave that stuff there. I do my progress notes and I'm like, okay, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's advice that realtors could take as well. Like I said, it's not, you know,
Right.
nearly as intense, but like not absorbing other people's emotions too much.
Yeah, and it's hard not to, especially like if you're somebody that's like empathetic and like you care and you like if you're somebody who absorbs other people's emotions and their energies and things like that, it is really hard to not bring it home. And I hope that it doesn't happen to anybody else where it's like something traumatic happens that makes them not bring it home like it happened to me. But that's why self-care is so important. That's why having a routine when you get home is important. Like, my work phone, unless I'm on call, is off at 5. I don't care if you called me at 5:01. My phone's off now. Like, I don't turn it all the way off because I like to know what time people called me. Like, oh, this person called me at 10 o'clock last night. Obviously, I didn't answer because that phone doesn't work after 5. But, excuse me. But it's all about, like, that self-care and knowing what works for you. Like, some people like to journal. I used to journal. I've kind of steered away from journaling a little bit more recently. I did some shadow work in the last year, which is basically like digging into your own subconscious and like finding what doors of your own are closed and what things that you don't typically work through on your own. It's like your shadow self, like you're introducing yourself to your shadow self, which it's some really intense work on your brain and on your mental health and your body, but it's worth it if you're ready to do it.
Like things you've kind of buried in your mind
Oh,
or
yeah.
pushed down.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, like, I think I mentioned earlier, like, I have trauma as well, and obviously with my mom being a substance abuser for 12 years, a lot could come with that. A lot of childhood memories were blocked out, and I worked on my shadow self, and I've been able to work through a lot of, like, that grief, that loss, the trauma that came with having a mom who was a substance abuser. like certain memories and things like that. So it's good to work through those things, but only if you're ready to do it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're just putting yourself in a bigger hole than you need to be if you're not ready to like really face what you're going through.
How do you think you know when you're ready to do that?
So it really depends on like how much work you've already put into yourself. Like, are you in a place where you love yourself? Are you in a place where you're feeling happy and healthy? Because that's where I was at, and I was like, okay, I think that I'm ready to finally dig into my shadow self, because now I love who I am now, but I also want to know everything that I blocked out. What are the things that hold me back from certain things? And I was wanting to know how to navigate certain triggers that I didn't understand why I had them.
Okay. Do you think, because I know you've said you've kind of dealt with mental health issues as well, do you think it's more of a thing you were born with, like more of a chemical thing? Do you think it was more of how you were raised, or do you think it's kind of a mixture?
So for me specifically, mine is like I have PTSD, depression, anxiety, and ADHD. The ADHD I've had since I was a little tiny child. I used to run around the classroom. My teachers would say, "Oh my God, this kid needs meds." Makyla's mom, please give her meds. She's driving us nuts. So started Adderall very young age. Got taken off of it because obviously after my mom started using substances, it wasn't safe to have Adderall in the house.
Oh, okay.
So I got taken off of meds to also help my mom from, well, taking my meds.
It's kind of like a self-sacrifice.
Yeah, but I was
way.
also so young that, like, respectfully, no 10-year-old needs to be on 30 milligrams of Adderall. Okay?
Is that a lot?
That is a lot. That is a very high dose of Adderall for a 10-year-old. I mean, most 30-year-olds take maybe that, but you don't really need that much. You don't need that much stimulants. So being at a young age and then being like, oh, you need that high of a dose. No. Let me be a kid. Let kids be kids. Figure out if they have ADHD later. Give them some time. Now, as I got older, the anxiety and depression, that started when my mom started using substances. So I was basically my mom's mom. I basically took care of her.
How old were you?
So my mom started using when I was 8 years old. When I was about 10 years old is when I knew she was using, and I snitched on her. Didn't know I snitched on her, but, I went to my grandparents, and I was like, what is this? And they were like, why do you know what that is? So I kind of snitched on her without knowing I was snitching on her. Oops. But then when I was 10, my stepdad had passed away.
Okay, so you lived with your mom and stepdad at that age?
So mostly just my mom. My stepdad was in prison for, I don't even remember what it was for. I think it had something to do with substances of some sort. He was also a substance abuser. He was only out of prison for like 2 weeks, and then he died the day after my 10th birthday, and then my mom got really bad after that happened. Like, she was using a little bit here and there before that, but she got really severely into it after he died. So then my anxiety got really bad because I would come home, and so my mom's drug of choice was heroin. So I would come home and my mom would just be passed out. You couldn't wake her up. You couldn't even get her to look at you and say words or nothing. Like, she was just like out of it.
So you were taking care of yourself and her, really.
And my sisters.
Oh, wow.
So my mom had, well, at least one of my sisters. The other one was already adopted at this point due to a CPS case from when we were really young. So it was just me and one other one, and I changed her diapers. I was the one that woke up in the morning at 4 a.m. to make sure she had her late night bottles. Like, she was a baby.
And you were like 8 years old or 10 years old?
10.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then from that point, my mom used, up until when I was 18, my mom went to 16 or 17 actually. She went to rehab in California for like a year. This was not her first time going to rehab, nor was it her last time, but it was the best time. She went to rehab, came home, and she actually ended up getting put on methadone, which is it helps with the receptors in your brain for not using opioids. Like, it's an opioid blocker. And she did that for about 3 years, and she was doing good, you know. Is it just kind of switching meds? Sure. Or like drugs of choice or something? Sure. But at the same time, it's in a controlled setting. She was getting a certain amount at a time. It was controlled.
More present?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, she was.
So she could function.
She was functioning. She was, you know, able to stay awake and be a mom for those couple of years. And then something happened in our family, and it just kind of really hit her hard. And then she started using again. And then it got really bad, really fast. And the next thing I knew, she had passed away when I was 20 years old. So like 3 months before my 21st birthday.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I love my mom, but it's better for her. And respectfully, it's better for me.
Yeah.
I was able to start college, and granted, I took a gap year. I took a year to grieve, to heal, to figure out my life. And then I ended up getting scholarships and Pell Grants and all this other stuff just because my mom died. And no, I'm not saying it's a good thing that my mom died, but yeah. I now get to help other people that have gone through the things that she went through because of losing her. Because I couldn't afford college. Guys, college is expensive.
Yeah.
College is expensive. Mm-hmm. I got really lucky with my college stuff because, to be honest, if I didn't have any Pell Grants or financial aid or any of the help that I had, I would not have finished because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Well, at least you can turn a horrible situation into something beautiful that can help other people.
Yeah. Definitely try to, for the most part. I really care deeply for my individuals that have substance use history, or if they're still actively using. Have I been triggered at work? Sometimes, especially when I first started in the field, I was like, whoa. Because originally, I wanted to work with children. And then I was an intern, and I was like, oh, let me try this other position. Like, let me just try.
You really went all in.
And then I was like, whoa, I love the people that hear voices. I really do. I have a client that hears 55 voices, and we broke them down, and we talked about every single person that he hears. And it just intrigued me, and I was like, wow, I want to know more. So then after my internship, I got the job in that position, and I was like, oh, I get to stay here. But I originally wanted to work with kids with trauma.
Okay.
Didn't end up doing that at all.
Do you think you ever will or would?
To be honest, no. No, because as much as I love kids and I would love to work with kids, I don't want to work with their parents. And I mean that in the nicest way. But, like, I have some adults that have legal guardians, and I'm like, well, we can't force this person to do this. I get that you're the legal guardian, but, like, we can't force them to work on X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And if you work with kids, you're really primarily working with the parents. And I think that's, like, the hardest part about working with kids. And it's one of the hardest parts about working with adults is having to work with legal guardians that are family members. Not that it's a bad thing. To be honest, I would prefer a family member be a legal guardian because they're more involved in their cases and they are a little bit more helpful when it comes to knowing the person. If it's like a state guardian, they don't really care.
Right.
Like, they're just like, here, I'll sign the documents. Here, I'll send their allowance. Oh, they're in the hospital. Okay, thank you. Thank you for letting us know. But a family member is going to go visit them. Mm-hmm. A family member is going to make sure they have somewhere to go after the hospital. So it's like, I like having the family members, but sometimes it's a little hard to work with legal guardians. It's like a good and bad. But there's good and bad in everything.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would work with kids just because you primarily have to work with the parents. And then the kids aren't really getting, in my opinion, the full aspect of their treatment that they might need.
Yeah.
Especially if they can't voice it themselves.
Yeah. A lot of times they're having like difficult home environments too, which a lot of the parents don't want to take accountability, I feel like.
Yeah, I worked with kids for maybe 5 minutes. Like, it was a very short period, and then I was like, let me try adults, because that's what your internship is about. You should be trying other sections of the field before you settle into something.
Yeah.
I just got lucky and I fell in love with SMI, which is abbreviation for severe mental illnesses.
Okay.
Yeah, I just got really sucked in by the severely mentally ill, and I enjoy learning about them. To be honest, I've learned more about medications than I probably ever would have learned at working with kids.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like hands-on with the adults. Like, I fill their pill organizers. If they're having side effects, I can help them pinpoint which med it was and then make sure they're scheduled with the psychiatrist so that things could be changed if the psychiatrist deems it needs to be. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not like, oh yeah, stop taking that.
Yeah.
No, don't stop taking your meds until the doctor tells you to.
Yeah.
I can call her. The most I can do is call her and be like, hey, this side effect is happening. What do you want them to do? Because we have our own psychiatrist. So I work for what's called the Assertive Community Treatment Team. So we have like me, the therapist, a case manager, a nurse, the supervisor, support staff, and the psychiatrist. We're also supposed to have a peer recovery coach. Unfortunately, peer recovery coaches are really hard to come by, especially with background checks. So a peer recovery coach is somebody who works both with mental health and substance use, but they have the experiences, and that's how they become a peer recovery coach.
Oh, okay. I can see why.
So background checks
Yeah.
typically fall through
Yeah.
because the individual has both mental health and substance use disorder. There's no guarantee that they haven't gotten in some sort of trouble,
Right.
which is okay.
Yeah.
But for some reason, these background checks are like so nitpicky on those individuals. But like if they've been clean and sober and out of the hospital for X, Y, and Z amount of time, they should be allowed to
Yeah.
work this job.
They should.
They should be allowed to do what they love to do. They want to help people with the same experiences that they've gone through. Mm-hmm. It's so hard for individuals with SMI to not have somebody else that can relate in the same way of like they've been to the hospital, they've been to jail, they've used substances, they've stopped taking their meds and had a psychotic episode, you know. I've never had a psychotic episode. The most I can relate with is I have PTSD, depression, and anxiety, and ADHD. But if I tell them about, well, they know about the ADHD, but if they knew like how I'm treated for ADHD, they'd be like, well, why can't I get stimulants?
Yeah.
You don't need stimulants.
That might make it worse.
Right. Right. Questions.
Leave that in. Zoom into her face. Okay, so I had some of our agents submit some questions for you.
Okay.
And they had some pretty good questions. I think you've answered a couple, though. So as far as setting boundaries without feeling guilty, I feel like you answered that one.
Always set boundaries. And do not feel guilty about it. It's okay.
You guys hear that? The call is coming from inside the house. It's like all questions I actually had. I'm just saying it's other agents. They're like oddly specific towards me. This is not me. How do people with a real estate photographer husband and 3 kids deal with and broker of about 30? It's not me though.
It's surely not.
What advice do you have when your self-worth becomes tied to your productivity?
Can you repeat the question?
What advice do you have when someone feels like their self-worth is tied to their productivity?
Yes, I feel that way often. To be honest, you have to put yourself first. You have to put yourself first. If you are feeling like your productivity is really low and you're feeling like that, walk away. Take a breather. Take 10 minutes. Go put some cold water on your wrists. Like literally whatever you have to do to step away from the current task. Because if you're feeling that way, you're not going to finish it or feel accomplished in it. You need to walk away in order to regain your thoughts. Even if you could spend a whole day away from it and come back. Just, you won't feel accomplished if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, there's no way I'm getting this done. I don't have the energy for this. My productivity is shit. You're not going to get it done at all. If you don't walk away, take some deep breaths. One of my favorite grounding techniques is the 5 senses. So it's 5 things that you can feel, 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can touch, 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste.
Okay.
If you can't taste anything or you can't smell anything, tell me your favorite sense and tell me something you just had last night. It's a way to distract your brain to not think about what you're currently struggling with, and it grounds you. So I have clients do that with me over the crisis phone. If they call me and they're freaking out and they're like, I can't do anything right. Well, hold on. Let's take a few deep breaths. Let's do the grounding technique. I want you to tell me what 5 things you can see. Okay, perfect. Now what 4 things can you touch? And I want you to touch them because your 5 senses are so important. We don't think they are in certain situations, but the 5 senses can kind of bring you back into a center of finding your center and grounding yourself. So definitely walk away from productivity if you feel like you're overwhelmed and it's stressing you out. You're not going to get it done, and you're not going to get it done well if you don't take a break from it.
I don't know if we should answer this one because I don't really know what the answer would be.
Well, let's see. What's the question? Lay it on me.
Why do ambitious people sometimes feel empty after reaching goals?
That would be different per person, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, it really just depends on what was the task? Why do you feel empty? Is it not fulfilling you? Is it something that you feel could have been done better? Because guess what? Your best is different every day. Your best is not going to look the same as yesterday did. So what makes you feel so empty about it if you completed the task and it looks good?
Yeah. Okay, so how do you motivate yourself to do things that are good for you?
Well, my day-to-day job it can be pretty taxing on your mental health. So I get home and I do the things I have to do first. And I try just to remember that I'm important too. I need to take care of myself too. If that means that I need to lay on the couch and be a couch potato, watch my TV show, and ignore everybody that calls or texts me, then that's what I'm going to do. There are some people that feel guilty for doing things like that, but you shouldn't, because you should always put yourself first. Because at the end of the day, you have you at the end. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you're the one who has your back.
Yeah. I've told agents that too. They feel like they have to constantly be on or watching their phones all the time. They don't ever feel like they can fully relax. But there's really nothing that's that important and urgent usually. Yeah, sometimes it's an emergency, but most everything can wait.
Do your agents have separate phones?
No.
They should. They should. And the reason I say that is because there can be some boundaries set with having two separate phones for your personal and your work phone. That would be a way to set those boundaries of like, okay, at this time, I'm sorry, but I'm not working anymore. You could text this phone, but I will get back to you in the morning. You'll hear from me in the morning during business hours. It's like a good way to kind of separate work and personal life.
Yeah.
Even if it means having two phones. Yes, it sucks having two phones. But it also sets those boundaries of like, okay, this person that wants to buy a house can send me texts or leave me voicemails at X, Y, and Z time, but I'm not getting back to them until the morning when I am back in work. That way they can separate the two from getting burnout. Burnout is so hard to get out of. It took me a really long time to get out of burnout, and I was extremely burnt out. I almost lost my job. I was so burnt out. And I ended up taking like a week off of work to do nothing, to think about nothing, to work on nothing, to just be with myself. I didn't even hang out with friends. I was just like, I need to regenerate. I did my laundry. I had time to fold my clothes. What? I never get to do that. You should see my closet. She's a mess all the time. But I have to take days off to like make sure that I'm not getting burnt out again and overwhelmed. So like that's how burnout starts though, is not separating work and personal. And sometimes having that separate phone could help.
Yeah.
Because then you can be like, boundaries, 7 o'clock, I'm done answering this phone.
Yeah.
I'll talk to y'all in the morning.
Yep. My do not disturb is usually like 8 o'clock or so. And agents that have questions, they know if they text me after that or call me after that, I'm probably responding at like 6 a.m. the next day.
Yeah.
Because nothing is usually that urgent. Like it can be handled the next day. No one's really negotiating deals at midnight.
Yeah. And like with me, when my clients call my work phone at 10 o'clock at night, there's a crisis phone for that. If it's a real emergency, you'll call the right number.
Yeah. Crisis or 911 if it really is
you'll call the right
a big
number.
emergency. Yeah.
They know. They've all been in this program long enough. They know when to call and what numbers are whose and what. And if it's not that important, they'll just leave us a message like, hey, can you just call me tomorrow? I just have to talk about something. Well, it depends. What do you want to talk about? Is this something that can wait until your appointment? Or is it something that you need right now? Because we see our people twice a week. So beginning and end of the week. It could wait until the appointment unless it's an actual crisis most of the time.
Yeah. And once you start taking those calls, it can be really hard to give boundaries after the fact. You have to set them up front, or people can start to like really think they can call you anytime.
Yes and no. And the reason I say no is because at the end of the day, even if those boundaries weren't set in the beginning, you can set them later and be like, hey, there's been a change in things. And word it as if it's like, I like, not like, oh, I need to set away time for myself, but hey, we came up with some new policies and I need to set some certain time frames where I can and cannot work. And this is now a policy made by the company. Like kind of using it as like, it's not me, but it's also not me. Like I have to do this because there's boundaries that needed to be set in the beginning that we're now changing policies and things like that. It's okay to do that. I had a client who, we're supposed to meet them where they are, and we can meet them anywhere in the community, but she was spending time with some risky individuals, and that was risky for our safety. So we ended up setting a boundary of like, hey, we can only meet you at your mom's house now. We can only meet you at this specific place now. We said it later because our safety is more important. Just like how everybody's mental health and themselves are more important than, oh my God, I'm grinding until midnight. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So don't feel basically that if you haven't had boundaries with someone in the past that you can't set them at any other time.
Yep. Absolutely. You can set boundaries whenever you want. Because at the end of the day, you are going to help you at the end. You can't let other people have the control over what your day looks like. Because otherwise, you're not living for you and you're living for other people.
Yeah, and then you can't help people anymore once you get to that point either.
Yeah. Because then you're burnt to a crisp, like a piece of toast on level 8.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe level 10.
Does the toaster oven go?
I think it depends on the toaster oven.
Because I think mine goes up to 8.
Oh, so you were like 8 out of 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was. Like I said, I was on the verge of losing my job. Like, I was so exhausted and drained. I was like, I can't work today. And I would go and see clients, and like I was listening but not listening. And I was like, okay, on to the next one. And I would sit in my car in silence. I would drive to the next client in silence. That's insane. Who sits in the car in silence? Someone who doesn't have the energy to hear anything.
Yeah. I've been there before.
But that's when I knew. I said, yeah, I really need to take a step back, take a few days, and like regenerate myself, fill my own cup again. Because that's important. You don't want to have your cup empty.
No.
You can't help anybody if you can't help yourself.
Yeah. Okay, I have a good question. So, you have a lot of people who are emotionally, probably like their emotions run really high.
Yes.
We do in some capacity in real estate too. Do you have any tips for kind of de-escalating situations where people are like really running hot?
Are we talking like anger? Are we talking sadness? Because it really depends on like what mood we're trying to de-escalate.
I think it could be both. I think it could be either like anger or frustration or sadness.
Because if somebody is angry with me, like if I'm on the phone with a client or if I'm in person with a client and they're yelling at me or they're dropping F-bombs, like I'll tell them straight up, no, we need to take a step back. You have 2 options. The 2 options is really something that works well. Like I had an individual that was, he was F-bombing me and yelling at me, and I said, no, you have 2 options. 1, you can get up, take a lap around the house and come back with a different attitude, or 2, I'm going to leave. And we can revisit this conversation when you've calmed down, because I'm not being paid to be yelled at.
I'm using this on my kids.
I'm not being paid to be yelled at. Giving 2 options and straight up telling them, like, no, you still only have these 2 options. There's no other one.
And then if you can't have a choice.
If you can't choose one of these 2 options, I'm going to choose for you, and it's going to be option 2. It's not going to be option 1. I'm not giving you a chance now. This was your chance to choose option 1. But my choice is option 2 if you can't refrain and de-escalate. So you just have to, like, know. And it's different, too, because, like, you guys don't work with your people for long, long periods of time, whereas, like, I've built rapport with these individuals for years to where it's, like, I can say things like that and be like, hey, we're not doing that today. I'll see you in a week if that's what you need. We can disengage for a couple weeks. I can stop seeing you for a month if that's what you need. But these are your options. Either we calm down or I leave. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just have to give 2 options. That way they have a choice, like you said.
Yep. And I think you just can't match their level of intensity. You kind of just have to be calm yourself and...
Yeah, because if you start to match their energy, it's only going to escalate more. It's not going to de-escalate them in any way, shape, or form. But being assertive is really important when setting boundaries and with de-escalating and having, like, the assertiveness of, like, no, we're going to do this or this. These are your options.
Mm-hmm. I think people respect you more when you do that.
Yeah, I think so. He walked around the house and came back.
So he picked option 1?
He did. He chose option 1.
Good.
What about sadness?
Oh, yes.
Wait, you asked the question real quick.
What would you say for someone who's sad? Some people are grieving when they're selling their houses, for instance.
Yeah, and I mean, you can grieve anything. Like if you lose a house, you lose an animal, you're going to be grieving. In those situations, I would comfort, like, how can I support you? What is a way that can make you feel a little bit more supported in this situation? I know it's hard. Like, I know it's hard that you have to sell your house right now. But what are the positives? Where are you going from here? What's next? But I don't want to hear the negatives. I want to hear you say the positives. Like, trying to get them to see that there is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm. So empathize with them and then kind of get them focused on something positive.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I would even step outside with them, like, hey, like, let's go take a minute outside. Even if it's cold, honestly, having a cold shock to certain nerves will immediately calm someone down. So, like, if somebody's having a lot of anxiety and they're like, oh my God, this isn't going to work. I can't do this. This isn't going to work. I can't make this happen. Let's go put some cold water on your wrist. Like, let's take a second and just breathe.
I've never heard that. I'm going to start doing that.
Cold shocking your wrists and the back of your neck. Like, there's certain nerves in your wrists and in your neck that, like, will send a shock through your whole body and just, like, change how your body is, like, reacting to your anxiety or, like, stress in a way.
That's cool.
I do it a lot to help my anxiety. If I'm feeling anxious, I'm like, cold water. Where is it?
I love that. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It was such great information.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the invite, and if you ever want to have me on again, I would love to join.
We need you. We need a lot of mental health advice.
I'm just a phone call away.
Thank you. Bye.